up, bro? I got you. Come on through. I got you, homie.
Yeah, I just need to get my...
Bro, I already got you, homie. I know what you want, homie.
All right. I needed my eyebrows done.
Baby, you done messed my pips up.
Hey everybody, it's Diandra Marie, and I have traveled to Philly for such a good reason. Sitting to my right is Kia, who you may know on Instagram as Kia Comedy. She's obviously a comedian, she's a teacher, she's a host, she's a writer, she's an activist.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. You wear a lot of hats. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. And
thank you for coming to Philly.
Oh, no. Thank you for coming to Philly.
Absolutely. Philly has shown me so much love. It's been crazy being here.
Yeah, you've been, for the past few days, you've been doing some comedy.
Right.
Some performing. How has it been so far?
It's been fun. I did the BFF comedy show on Friday night, and Saturday night I did Dr. Mary Douglas Bailey's birthday party, and there's very diverse audiences. I'm loving Philly. I'm loving the Philly comedians, loving the scenery, so just having a good time.
No, that's good. That's awesome. So, from what I know, and hopefully from what you know, you're a teacher.
Yes,
right?
I am.
So So you've been educating for many years. So what made you want to get into educating?
Well, it's just education was always a passion of mine. My mother's an educator, retired principal. I believe she did like 40 plus years. So I grew up in school, and I was always passionate about writing and literature. So it just came naturally that was the path I chose. I followed in the footsteps of my mother. The only, I have one other sister who's an educator as well.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
I just like to give back and help out the kids, and I know that teachers have such a huge impact on hundreds of lives every single year. So that's what it was about for me. It was about giving back.
Mm-hmm. And you said it came naturally for you, which I feel like being funny also comes naturally to you. But quick question, like, when it comes to being funny and it comes to being a stand-up comedian, I feel like that's still two different lanes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So how did you, like, what were some of the challenges you faced when you were like, all right, I'm going to get on stage and perform, but, you know, it's not the impromptu funny.
Well, you're absolutely right, because a lot of people are hilarious, but when it comes to doing that time on stage, it's not going to work out. And so I also did a little theater. I taught theater for a couple years, so just understanding performing arts and what it takes to draw in an audience, like educating. Every teacher, you better be a comedian if you plan on engaging your class. Right. So some of the most difficult parts for me, though, were just timing. Comedic timing is important. So I'm just learning as I go and trying to make sure I learn from the greats and taking notes. And every single show I wanted to get better and better and better. And that's what I've been seeing. Working on my material, working on my time.
As a little black lesbian in Alabama was kind of like being Michael Sam's in the NFL. And then I married a slender white woman, which was like being every other black guy in the NFL. And I said, Mom, Dad, I need to introduce you all to my fiance. And my daddy said, where the fuck he at? Kim K could sell anything right now. She could come out with her own line of STDs and they would sell out. The same night they would. And you'll see on Instagram the next day, little girl saying, Kimmy Crabs on fleek, hashtag penicillin. Sometimes when my wife is dancing, I catch her counting. She's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. Like, baby, you can't do an 8 count twerk. Kids write that on wish list, because not my nieces and nephews, they just started texting me pictures of shit that they wanted. So I text them pictures of my bills and student loans. But one of the little bad bastards texted me back and said, $60,000 to become a teacher? Someone must have not been very good at math. And then there's a part of me that still wants to be treated like a lady, I'm not gonna lie. It normally comes out like right after dinner when the bill comes. Yeah. I'll be looking across the table at your ass like, you nails, her lashes, all of that, talking about, boo, bitch. Literally, gay men in church. It was so cool. Though. The pastor, he was gay and he had like sequins on his robe. The choir had choreography. Like, it was beautiful. I love it. They read from the book of Elton John. Yes. When the pastor wanted an amen, instead of huffing and puffing, he would just smack his lips.
Like your material and getting everything together, you know, you have to stay current. You know, like regardless if you're talking about your own life or talking about what's going on in the world. Right. How do you choose what's appropriate to talk about? Like, how do you kind of choose your material?
Well, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I feel like if I have this huge platform, I better be telling my story and the issues that are going on with me, the real issues. So I say, you know, what's really affecting society, and that's what I like to talk about. You're going to hear about Trump in my speeches. You're going to hear something about LGBTQ discrimination. You're going to hear about racism. Right. You're going to hear even about poverty. I just try to keep up with the events and what is relevant, and I throw that in there because anybody can tell a silly joke, but I like to consider myself an activist as well, and this is a part of that. I'm out there talking about the issues. Right. So I'm not just going to talk about Kim Kardashian's latest butt injection. I'm going to talk about things that actually matter. So I read the newspaper all the time, and I'll see a headline pop out, and I just start writing around it, just build around it till I have a punch that is going to make people laugh, but they are also going to leave away thinking, wait a minute. Right. That makes a lot of sense. It was funny to laugh at, but that makes a lot of sense.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, that's the jokes I like to laugh at.
Right.
I don't, Kim Kardashian's, but I think we've heard. Right.
No offense, Kanye. I know you paid a lot of good money for that booty.
Well, whatever. He's the one married to her. We're not. So, speaking of some more of the challenges, have you ever been heckled? Does that happen? Like, maybe they just show that in the movies?
No, it happens.
Oh, it does?
So when I first started doing comedy, comedy is a lot about open mics. When you have new material, you're going to go out to open mics, smaller rooms, and try that out. And so people didn't know who I was. And I went to this one show, and it was very few people there because it was an open mic. So I'm sitting up front waiting for my turn to go up. And the comedian decides that he's going to make his entire show about me. Not knowing you had to go up. Not knowing that I was a comedian as well. Right. So he started with his, can I say shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started with his shit and I ended it. He literally ended up just putting the mic down, and I roasted him during his own show. Just roasted every type of all of that. Like, it's whatever. So yeah, I mean, you get heckled. I've been heckled from the stage, and you also, I treat them like, you know, you treat bad kids. You kind of have to pull them in, make them feel like they're part of the show, make them be a part of the joke, call a celebrity that they look like. You just look like a broke young thug or something, you know. So it happens. Just it's part of the show.
Yeah.
Audience engagement is good no matter what. That's gonna catch their attention no matter what. So it's not really, it doesn't faze me. It's fun. I look forward to it.
That's good. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So, talking about what you do for fun, I know you're an educator, you're obviously a comedian, but you're a writer as well, and your work has been in several publications. Like, what is that like? Like, what do you, when you're getting published, what type of material do you like to put out there?
Okay, well, one of my publications that I'm proudest of is my work with the Fulbright Hayes Fellowship, where I was sent by the United States Department of Education over to Belize to research, and my research has pretty much been added to the American curriculum. So any teacher that wants to teach a lesson about Belize, they can use the things that me and I went with a group of 14 women.
Okay, cool.
So that's my proudest accomplishment, just that giving back, but also I tell my story. I tell my story of being in an interracial lesbian couple from the South, and my experiences with a lot of times when you're watching the news, they make an issue seem like it's just an issue, but there are individuals involved.
Right.
So these discrimination bills, I tell my experiences with that. I share my conversations with my family about that. It's not just impacting just you sitting there clicking this button. These things are impacting people's lives.
Right.
So those are the stories that I like to tell. I have this platform and I want to share my story. So that's what I'm doing.
No,
it's not just entertainment. Like I really do call it edutainment.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to tell my story.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you're happily married. You're in an interracial relationship. Right. I don't know. I don't want to get into the interracialness of it. You got your two women in love. That's awesome. What I mean?
It's hard enough being a lesbian.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So we're not going to get into that. But what I do want to ask you about your marriage is you being an entertainer and, wearing various hats that can have you, just busy.
Right.
How important is it to have a partner that... can, what qualities does that partner need to have to help this relationship work?
Favorite question.
Okay.
I never picked up a microphone before I met my wife.
Okay.
She encouraged me and believed in me enough for me to take the stage for the first time, and she's been supportive throughout. Okay. And a lot of times that does mean I might be in the club just doing a promo event or taking pictures or whatever the case. I have to be out a lot. Even here, I'm in Philly right now. Right. My wife is in Atlanta working. It's important that you have trust and that you believe in each other and that you're supportive. So in the areas where she needs me to pick up her slack, I can do so, and I happily do so, and vice versa. So it just takes that support. Because I've always been silly. I've always thought about doing something like this, but it took being with a supportive partner who believes in us and believes in me enough to allow me to pursue my passion.